Vaheguru Ji Ka Khalsa, Vaheguru Ji Ki Fateh. Welcome to this segment of Coach Gurbani's a-sabad-a-day. The recitation for the day is Gujari Mahalla Panjava, composition of the fifth Nanak, Gur Arjan, and the recitation followed by reflection. ਅਪਜਸ ਮਿਟੈ ਹੋਵੇ ਜਗ ਕੀਰਤ ਦਰਗਹਿ ਬੈਸਣ ਭਾਈਐ ਜਮ ਕੀ ਤਰਾਸ ਨਾਸ ਹੋਏ ਖਿਨ ਮਹਿ ਸੁਖ ਆਨੰਦ ਸੇਤੀ ਘਰ ਜਾਈਐ ਜਾਂ ਤੇ ਕਾਲ ਨ ਬਿਰਥੀ ਜਾਈਐ ਆਠ ਪਹਿਰ ਸਿਮਰੋ ਪ੍ਰਭ ਆਪਣਾ ਮਨ ਤਨ ਸਦਾ ਧਿਆਈਐ ਰਹਾਉ ਮੋਹਿ ਸਰਨ ਦੀਨ ਦੁਖ ਭੰਜਨ ਤੂੰ ਦੇਹ ਸੋਈ ਪ੍ਰਭ ਪਾਈਐ ਚਰਨ ਕਮਲ ਨਾਨਕ ਰੰਗ ਰਾਤੇ ਹਰ ਦਾਸ ਹੈ ਪੈਜ ਰਖਾਈਐ ਮੋਹਿ ਸਰਨ ਦੀਨ ਦੁਖ ਭੰਜਨ ਤੂੰ ਦੇਹ ਸੋਈ ਪ੍ਰਭ ਪਾਈਐ ਚਰਨ ਕਮਲ ਨਾਨਕ ਰੰਗ ਰਾਤੇ ਹਰ ਦਾਸ ਹੈ ਪੈਜ ਰਖਾਈਐ. The theme in this Shabad is Apajas, disgrace. And in the opening verse, the Guru says, Apajas Mitai hove jag kirat dargah baisan paiye jam ki tras na hoy khin mein sukh anand seti kar jaiye. So what he is describing here seems like what is a desirable state to be in. It's the wish of a seeker. So if we translate this, it means apajas mita, disgrace is erased. Hove jag kirat, worldly honor is attained. Dargah baisan paiye, one finds a place in the divine court. Jam ki tras naas hoye khin mein, the fear of death is destroyed in an instant. Anand seti kar jaiye, and one goes home in peace and bliss. So what might this mean? What does disgrace mean here? It means literally a fall from grace. That is, a sense of estrangement from the self. It's a self-alienation brought about by moral and ethical failings. So disgrace is a human condition that comes about by virtue, by a moral flaw. It's a moral flaw that is built into us. A lack of virtue, and more broadly, a lack of moral character, because virtue, guns as they are called in Gurbani, virtue is both reflective and constitutive of moral character. It's more than just behavior. And virtue, with a capital V, should be seen as reflective of wisdom, Naam. So Naam reflects virtue, self-knowledge reflects qualities. So this lack of qualities because of a lack of self-knowledge is to be in a state of disgrace, apajas. Because the cultivation of virtue is the basis for self-identification. Self-knowledge is what brings you identification with the self, identification as a moral agent that Gurbani calls a satyara. A satyara is the purpose of life. That is the archetype in Sikhi. What being a satyara means: one, a realization of one's authentic nature; two, a sense of one's place on the stage of this world, which is the divine court; and three, a return from this world play with a sense of accomplishment. That is essentially what Guru Arjan is goading us towards. And then in the Rahau, he tells us to pause and reflect on the method, how to do this. How do you cultivate virtue? Because to cultivate virtue or qualities, you need to have self-knowledge, wisdom. How do you do that? He says, Jate kal na birtha jaye. I tell you of an effort that will never go waste. And what is that? Aath pahar simro prabh apna man tan sada tyaiye. So with what is that effort? Unwavering dedication and focus. Attentiveness. Tyana. So with unwavering dedication and focus, and with attentiveness, meditate on the wisdom of the self. Simro prabh apna. And do that day and night. Aath pahar. This is the effort, if you make it, will not go in vain. Jate kal na birtha jaye. So this call for an effort that will not be wasted is really a call to develop and cultivate virtue through focus, dedication, and attentiveness. If you notice, all of these require, and in turn, they create solitude. So we have to learn how to be solitary without being lonely. There is a difference between the two. Solitude is the ground of inner silence, and we have to reach that ground of inner silence, and that is where the self is befriended, because it resides in the very inner core of our being. That is where wisdom is, and that is where it emerges. It is the groundswell of creativity. So being a satyara means to be creative, to be a co-creator with the universe in leaving something of value. That is finding your place, finding your sense of yourself, your purpose. In conclusion, the Guru reiterates. He says, Mohe Saran, I have sought your sanctuary. Deen Dukh Panjan, you are for the hapless, Deen. You are the destroyer of distress. We are hapless in some ways. In many ways, perhaps in all ways. And so we need the guidance, the hand, the intimacy of the self. Moh saran deen dukh panjan, tu de soi prabh paye. So whatever the self gives, prabh is light, wisdom. Whatever wisdom invites you and gives you, one receives. In other words, we are all imbued with a slice of that wisdom. And it is that through which we will know the self. You can't have all the infinite qualities in one person because we are a slice of that larger self. So we have some virtue and we need to identify what that is. So Nanak is imbued with the love of your wisdom. Charan Kamal Nanak Rangarat, absorbed, has identified that virtue. And that is how the honor of the servant, meaning the devotee, is preserved. That is the return to grace when you have developed, cultivated virtue and become a moral and ethical agent. Vaheguru Ji Ka Khalsa, Vaheguru Ji Ki Fateh.